What's going on, guys? Wolvi here, and welcome to this episode of In the Cypher BBOY podcast. And on this episode, we got Somar sharing with us his power training and techniques to help him develop a level of power where he can create his own unique moves and transitions. Really dope interview. He goes into his full training schedule and what his practices looks like. I freaking love it. Anyways, before we get into the episode, just want to say a big shout out to B-Boy Isma for the support. I really appreciate it, dude. And everyone else who's commenting on Instagram letting me know what B-Boys they want to get on the show. So Kevin Chen, Aguman, B-Boy Dolphy, Chris Abia, Thomas Madcow. You guys, thank you so much. All right, let's get into the episode. What's good, guys? Wolvi here, and welcome to the Cypher. On this episode of In the Cypher B-Boy podcast, and every episode, I interview B-Boys and B-Girls from various backgrounds and experience levels, and they share their knowledge with you to help you become a better dancer. And on this episode, I am excited to announce our featured guest, Somar Al-Jafari, but you probably know him as B-Boy Somar. Now, Somar, aged 23, hails from Syria, but was born and raised in Jordan. Somar started his breaking career at age 13 and has dedicated his time and passion to perfecting his craft ever since. Somar joined XT Crew in 2009, who later on joined forces with some of the members of 962 Street Crew or 962nd Street Crew. I couldn't tell you, but this was in 2010. The following year, the crew was traveling to Dubai to represent Jordan in the Battle of the Year 2011 and decided to go as Middle Beast Crew. There they won first place showcase in Middle East. In 2012, Somar took home his first trophy from the Redbull BC1 Cypher in Jordan, and from that point on, Somar found a strong drive to set higher goals in reaching and winning the World Finals. In the following year, Somar started giving back to the community by teaching and sharing his experience in breaking with the students. At age 21, Somar immigrated to California to pursue his dream of becoming an icon in the world of dance. Alright, Somar, really excited to hear from you. Are you ready to get into it, man?
Yes, what's up?
Not much, man. Chilling. How are you?
I'm good, just chilling.
Awesome, man. Let's get started just by telling us a little bit more about your personal life and what you like to do outside of breaking.
Basically, when I'm not breaking, I just go out, hang out with friends. Uh, we go to like different places, try new foods. I'm into the healthy lifestyle and like working out. Basically, it does have to do with breaking, but it's kind of different. It's like working out as an athlete.
Yeah, definitely. We should definitely get like deeper into that as the interview goes on.
Uh-huh.
Okay, perfect, man. You've been killing it recently. I've been seeing you in all the LA ciphers. Recently, you just won the Orlando cipher. Congrats on that, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was huge. How are you feeling?
I feel good about everything that I've been doing lately. Uh, Sometimes I'm kind of like harsh on myself. It's like, oh, I need to do more. That's not enough. But then I go back to the mentality where, oh, okay, I have to rest too. It's not just like action. Like you need rest. Rest is as important as practice, as important as competing, as important as like making big moves. Uh, so I think rest is a big part that everybody should not forget.
Dope. Yeah, it really seems like you're really in tune with your training and your body, but I'm sure it didn't really start out like that. You want to get into maybe a little bit on how you got started breaking and maybe some of your big influences coming up?
Yes. Uh, okay, so basically, when I started doing handstands ever since I was a kid. So ever since I was like 3, I used to do handstands against the couch. I used to try to walk on my hands. And then by the age of like 6, I got a handle of that, and I used to play games by myself at home. It's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna walk from my room to the kitchen and then to my parents' room, all on my hands, and then I would do it, and then I would set like a bigger goal to walk even more around the house, and then I would do 2 rounds, 3 rounds, and this is all just like for fun and entertainment for myself as a kid. And then as I grew up a little bit older, when I was like 10, 11, I used to see a commercial, and it had just a 2 second part of someone doing power moves. And
Nice.
I used to see, oh, that's cool. I didn't know what was that, because it was like a next level thing that people do other than handstands. It's like, oh, this is even harder and looks cooler. So I didn't know what it was until I saw one guy dancing when I was 13, and that was at a like a kids club back in Jordan. And then I went up to that kid and I was like, "Hey, that's really cool. Like, where did you learn?" And then he told me about this dance studio. And then uh, I didn't really find that studio until my friend got injured, um, and he was getting stitches in his head, and
Wow.
the hospital he was going to is right next to that studio. So when they were on their way to the studio, they found the I mean to the hospital, they found the studio, and they called me. They were like, "Oh, Somar, I found the studio," and that was his brother, not the injured kid, not my injured friend, his brother, because he wanted to sign up with me. So we actually ended up signing up together. He did it for just like 1 month, and I kept learning. I used to practice every day at home. I used to try to go more days to the studio just to practice by myself. Um, and then, like, I used to see older b-boys who used to practice more often. Used to session basically, not just take classes. So I just tried to session with them more, and then like they would tell me, "Hey, come in, keep coming," until I became a part of their crew. That crew was called XT Crew. It's basically the same members of Middle Beast right now, but we had a little bit of changes as some people left the crew, and then we joined with another crew, and then we ended up being Middle Beast. So yeah, eventually I just kept practicing with these guys until I stopped taking classes, and then we just helped each other grow up along with workshops we used to get every year. We would have like people from Redbull come give us workshops, like the All Stars, and then we would have like a theater. Like a company who brings theater shows to Jordan. They used to bring dancers from abroad, like choreographers from Europe and the US, to just come and practice with us for 1 month and then create a show together. So that definitely helped as well. And for me, like one of my biggest influences is watching how other people make it, not just in breaking, uh, like such as Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee was a big influence. The way he used to practice and train, and his mindset. I used to learn a lot from that. And then in breaking, I would say a lot of b-boys influenced me in different ways. Some of them is like b-boy Lilu.
Hmm.
B-Boy Lilu had a really big impact in our community in the Middle East, as he's actually originally Arab. He's from Africa, from Algeria.
Yeah.
So he was the one who used to come to the Middle East a lot and give workshops and try to grow the breaking scene in the Middle East. So basically, a lot of b-boys in the Middle East respect Lilu a lot, like one of the most b-boys, because he's currently like a pioneer for us. He helped us a lot. He helped us get that knowledge. And then along with that, like just seeing other b-boys, how they make it along the way. It's like, oh, that's a new b-boy. And then next thing you know, that b-boy wins Red Bull BC1 or wins something really big. And you'd be like, oh, who's that b-boy? And then you start reading and getting to know their life and how they made it. That also like gives
Hmm.
a really, it really gives like motivation. It's like, oh, if he can do it, then maybe I can do it too, you know? And that also like teaches you a lot in your actual life. It's like, oh, if I can do a headspin, if I can win that big event, if I can do all those crazy moves, then I can do anything in the world, like having my own business, becoming a millionaire, or whatever goals each person has, you know?
Yes, mindset is key. Once you know it's possible and it's possible for someone else, you just have to think if it worked for them, then why wouldn't it work for me?
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. And then I know you mentioned the Bruce Lee training mindset. You wanna what do you mean by that? Let's get a little specific on that.
Um, it's just that like Bruce Lee has been a really big inspiration. Like reading through his quotes and watching his training videos. Uh, like he did something that not a lot of people would do, which is taking the extra mile or like practicing different than everybody else, and that's what made him special in my eyes. So like the way I applied it in breaking is like, okay, so what's something that other b-boys doesn't do? What can I do more than what they do to make me more special? So in my mind, like I was like, okay, maybe I have to just take the extra mile in terms of like, okay, so if everybody sessions 3 to 4 days a week, and that's like 3 hour sessions, why don't I session double that time? Why don't I do morning and night? Why don't I do 5 days a week? Why don't I do every day? Why don't I practice like everywhere to get adapted to all kinds of scenarios? If I can dance on concrete, on grass, on sand, uh, on parquet floor, in a studio, if I get adapted to all that, then I could do it anywhere and anytime. Uh, Also, like surprising your body is really important. So you can be able to do it any time of the day, basically. Because I know a lot of b-boys. If you ask them, hey, let's get down, let's session right now, or let's cipher, let's do anything, let's dance. They'll be like, oh man, I need to warm up. I need an hour to warm up. And I look at them like, oh man, come on, you do this every day, you know?
Hmm.
So it's like you have to surprise your body so they can adapt to any scenario.
Totally. Continuing where everyone else stops. I love it. That's so inspirational. And it and the hard work is excuse me. Your hard work is showing, like you're winning jams left and right, and you're making it really far in all these big Red Bull jams. You're doing good for yourself, man. That's awesome.
Thank you.
And so most of this so far is like out in Jordan, right?
Yes.
How's the scene like there? Where would you say you currently rank amongst like the level of b-boys out there in Jordan?
Um, in Jordan, I would say I'm definitely one of the top b-boys. Uh,
Hmm.
Basically, I've won Red Bull BC1 twice in Jordan, actually.
Hmm.
Uh, I won a lot of events, like most events I would win back there. I used to teach, and then like our scene is kind of small, but everybody is very passionate, and like they understand the concept of hard work. Like they need to work hard to get to a point where they can travel and compete and do something with their breaking. So that's actually a really good thing over there. And I would say they have a really good sense of hip hop in Jordan.
I love that.
Yeah.
And
So
then
the scene is small, but everybody is friends with each other. Actually, like you would have like small beefs, but that's everywhere, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's good. The smaller scene, you build a tighter community, so it's good, and you'll be able to influence more people that way directly.
Yes.
And then, so you told me earlier that you're living out in Orange County, California.
Yes.
How long ago was it that you made the move, and why?
I moved here 2 years and a half ago. Uh, the reason why I actually moved here is because I was definitely dedicating my life to breaking, and then I have a Syrian passport. So even though I was born and I grew up in Jordan, my parents are from Syria, and then I was granted a Syrian passport, and then that passport had a really big effect on me traveling because of the Syrian crisis that started in 2011.
Mhm.
And I would say like 2011 is the first year where I traveled for breaking. So I went to Dubai that year for Battle of the Year with my crew. I didn't have any problems back then because like the crisis was still like pretty new. So I went to Dubai. We won the best show in the Middle East for Battle of the Year, and then like that inspired me a lot and gave me a lot of like motivation and energy to practice for bigger things and whatever comes on the way. And then in 2012, we had Red Bull BC1 for the first time in Jordan, and I won it that year. It was my first time winning a solo competition by myself,
Hmm.
and I was really happy because like it's Red Bull BC1, so
Yeah.
it's like whoa, I won Red Bull BC1, and that's my first competition. So that gave me a lot of energy and motivation. So I was supposed to fly out to Egypt. Luckily, I didn't need a visa. But then what happened was they changed it to Morocco. So the event was supposed to happen in Morocco that year. And then I wasn't able to get a visa. So they had the second B-boy from Morocco compete instead of me that year. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, that was kind of depressing for me.
Hmm.
I didn't know like how to feel about it. Yeah, so the Moroccan b-boy replaced me, and then like there was an event for me that everybody made, all the b-boys, and this dance like famous dance studio in Jordan called Tempo. They had an event for people to come watch me live stream together and have a barbecue. So
Oh no.
yeah, I ended up going to that barbecue and event, and I'm watching the Red Bull qualifier with them. And as my battle came up, I started watching it. I was like, I don't know, like making moves in my mind. It's like, oh, what if that was me? Who would have went first? Oh, I would have got this beat,
Right.
and
I
all
could have beat
that.
him. I could have beat him.
Yeah, or I don't know, like I had a million things in my mind, and then some b-boys would joke with me like, "Oh, that's you, Somar, that's you," and I'm like, "Oh man, that's not a funny joke right now." So, yeah, it was kind of sad. So I kept practicing for the second year, and I made it to the finals in 2013, and I lost. And I was super sad because I didn't get my chance the year before to go to the qualifier. So that kind of made me really sad because I wouldn't get a spot at the qualifier if I made it to second place. So
Right.
eventually the qualifier was in Jordan. So I had to watch it live too. Like I was there watching my crewmate battle because he won. And then the next year, 2014, I won again, and I was able to travel. But when I traveled, I went to Algeria. I didn't need a visa. But when I came back from Algeria, I got stuck at the airport. Uh, I was with the manager, the cultural manager from Red Bull. We were traveling together, and then when we got to Jordan, they stopped me at the airport for like 3 to 4 hours, and they didn't want to let me in. They're like, "Oh, you're Syrian. You should go back to Syria." But
Oh.
then I showed them a video of me holding the Jordanian flag at Red Bull, and like I was like, look, I was representing you guys, and they still didn't care. They were like, "Oh man, what do
That's
you do? You
brutal.
dance?" Yeah, and then they were like, "Just go back to your country. You should go back to Syria. What you're doing here?" I'm like, "Well, I left a week ago. You can see on my passport that it's been a week since I've left, and I live here. My parents are here. Everybody I know is here. I grew up here. I went to school here. You can't be like that, you
Hmm.
know?" And they gave me a really hard time until they let me back into the country. So that was my first experience with the airport. And then I traveled 2 more times for breaking, and that was also to Algeria. But then I needed a visa the following times because I don't know why. Like at first, Syrians didn't need a visa to go to Algeria, but then with the new restrictions and regulations because of the crisis in Syria, now we need a visa to go everywhere, and most countries wouldn't give us that visa because they would be scared of people running away because of their because of what's happening in the country, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, the next two times I traveled, it was really hard for me to get back into the country again. And one of these times I got stuck for like 9 hours at the airport. And that time, after I got in and I was in the car on my way home, I was like in my mind, I was like, next time I travel, I'm not coming back here. Like, apparently I'm not accepted. And I've been dealing with a lot of problems with like law enforcement and cops. Every time they stop us in the car, me and my friends, I would get humiliated. Like they would make me get out of the car just because I'm Syrian. They would ask me really annoying questions. They would basically harass me just because I'm not Jordanian.
Wow.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, it was really annoying for a really long time. Like I kept feeling like I'm different, like I'm not accepted in that country. Along with dancing, like dancing is not really something that's accepted in the Middle East either.
Okay.
It's really hard to dance over there. Uh, like people would look down on you if you're a dancer. Like, oh, you're wasting your time. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
You're trying to be like people from America, or what are you trying to do? That's not your culture. Uh, like they just want their kids to be uh, lawyers or doctors or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Like even my parents had didn't really understand what I'm doing, and they didn't really like it at first. Uh, I don't even think my dad still understands what I'm doing. Yeah. So like it's been tough, like doing everything together. It's like dealing with the Syrian situation, and then dancing in Jordan, not being able to go to college because of like many reasons. One of
hmm
them is financially. I wasn't able to go every semester. So like I would stop for one semester, then go back to school, then stop again, and then it came to a point where like, am I gonna keep doing this? That's just a waste of time. I don't want to go to college no more, you know.
Yeah.
So I just focused on breaking, and like, it was my escape from everything. I would just break more and just waste my time breaking, uh, and I just kept getting better until I got the chance to come to America. And then as soon as I came here, I just applied for asylum, and I just
Nice.
stayed. Yeah, I just stayed
Right.
in California.
That's awesome. And it worked out. Seems like, right?
Yes, and like one of the biggest motivations for me to stay here is like one of my dreams is to travel the world, and my passport is preventing me from doing so. And
hmm
I'm really passionate about breaking, but then my crewmates used to travel more than I did. Every time they travel to compete or to any event or anything, like even together, it's like, oh, why can't I be with them? You know, because like all my friends are out together. Like you feel like you're missing out. That's one.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
two, you want to be there too, like at the jam or at the event they're going to, and you want to see and experience what they experienced, or like, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
So it was kind of hard. Like every time they travel, I would just go straight to practice and practice for like 5 6 hours nonstop, and like I would just do my best to get better and just forget, you know. So it was currently like it was basically my escape back then.
Wow, okay. Somar, I love this story because it's such a real struggle for you, and it just shows how you overcame adversity. And it seems like there's so much stuff in your way and so many obstacles to get through, and somehow you pushed past and you made it through. And I love this story, man. This is crazy.
Thank you.
Um,
Yeah. So I just like when I came here, I was like, okay, I'm in California now. Hollywood is here. Everything is here. A lot of b-boys are here. Everything's big here. Like you can make it big in whatever you do. You just have to put the effort for it. It's not like back home. Like back home, I would put effort. I would work hard for something, but you would get no results. You know.
right.
It's just the culture and the society is not really accepting to what we do. They just make it harder. And yeah, so I was like, okay, I was doing good in Jordan. I was teaching kids. I was performing. I opened my own studio at some point. So when I came here, I was like, okay, it's time to do all that on a bigger scale at some point, um, because there's more opportunity, basically.
100%. And where are you at with that?
Uh, right now, right now, I'm
Yeah, just
basically
curious.
focusing on competition mostly.
Nice.
I've taught
Hmm.
with different people. Like I've covered people for classes. I taught with a company or two. But for me, it like when I taught over here kids how to break, it didn't really serve my purpose, and that like I didn't enjoy it, and it doesn't make good money at the same time. So I was like, what's the point of all this if I'm not happy with what I'm teaching or the purpose I'm teaching for, then I don't really need this. Because like my one of my goals when I used to teach back home is to build my students' characters in terms of everything in life, not just breaking. Because I believe is like what I believe in is how you do something is how you do everything. So I used to teach them hard work. I used to make them do workouts. Like I would make my students who are like 7, 8 years old do 26 steps on each side, and then 20 cc's. I would give them like a list of footwork, and they have to do 20 of each on each side, so they can get better really quick. Like handstand workouts, handstand push-ups. I would play games with them just for them to get better, so they don't get bored, and then they get way better and stronger, and they're basically doing a sport, not just dance. And then it's also a dance where they can escape from reality. So it's like a mixture of things in one, and
Yeah.
that's what I like to do. But then when I taught over here, it was different. I felt like I was teaching to make money, and then I was teaching some other person's formula on how to teach them and going the safe way,
Hmm.
like teach them in a really safe environment and safe moves, making sure not for them not to get injured. But for me, I live my life on the edge. I'm an extremist, and I believe that if you really want something, you can get it, no matter how or in what way. So I like to go hard with my students too. I like to teach them that. I like to teach them that they can get anything they want, no matter how hard it is. So, like, I wouldn't mind teaching a 7-year-old how to do an air flare, because I really believe if I can do it, he can do it. You know?
Hmm. I love that. I love what you said. How you do something is how you do everything. I really love that. And
Mhm.
I'm sure it translates into your hard work outside training, but also your hard work inside of training. You know, how is
Yes.
uh how is your training leading up to big competitions? I know you've been part of so many. What's the shift like in your training?
Okay, so basically, I wish I can train the way I used to train back in Jordan. Uh, honestly, like back home, I didn't pay rent. I didn't worry about paying bills. I used to just break, or like I would go to school and break and teach
Yeah.
classes. Like it's all like it all works out together easily.
Hmm.
I had my friends, I had my life put together already. So like breaking was easier. Like it was really easy for me to break. I used to go to a dance school, and I used to practice from 11 till 4 over there. Maybe like till 3:30, and then rest for half an hour, and then from 4 till 5 I would give a class for
Wow.
beginners, and
Okay.
and then 5 till 6 I would give an advanced class for my students, and I would like do workouts with them and everything. We would cipher, we would battle at the end of each class, and then I would go straight to session with my crew, and that was like a 3 hour session. So I used to spend a lot of my days just breaking from morning to night. uh, Even sometimes I would have so much energy to the point where like after a session with my crew I would walk back home, and it would take me like 25 minutes walk, And then as soon as I get home, I'd be like aware that okay, my oldest brother is gonna complain if I break at home. He's like, "Oh, you're making a lot of noises and stuff," you know. So I used to I used to just stay in the street right in front of my apartment complex, and I would just break over there in the street by myself for like
Crazy.
half an hour or an hour, and then I would go home. But then ever since I moved to the US, there's a lot of competitions. I would battle a lot. Uh, I had to work a lot. Like when I first came here, I had to do like 12-hour shifts every day, and
Wow.
it was really hard for me to break. But then I moved here for this, so I would lose a lot of jobs just to break. Uh, I would do anything for breaking. Like even one time, I lost a job just to go to practice because I told my boss, "Hey, I need to leave tomorrow at 7 because I have practice at 8. Is that okay?" He was like, "Sure, just let your coworker cover you." And I asked her, and she said yes, and I told him, so he was cool with it. Then the next day, an hour before I was supposed to leave, she called in and she canceled, and she was like, "I can't do it." And I made plans to go to practice, and I had my backpack with me at work. I was super excited. I was practicing with uh, like big names, people I used to look up to when I was a kid,
Hmm.
and I haven't practiced in a while. So I was like, I'm gonna make it to that practice no matter what. And then my boss was like, "Hey, if she's not coming, then you can't leave." I was like, "Well, I told you, and it's your business. You're the one who should get someone to cover me, and I just did it to be safe." So he was like, "Well, you can't leave. It's your choice if you want to leave, but I wouldn't like it if you leave." I was like, "Okay, cool, peace. See you tomorrow." And I left. So when I left,
Crazy.
the next morning he fired me. So I was cool with it. I was like, "Okay, if that's how he feels, then it's cool. At least I went to practice and I'm cool with it, you know?" I don't care. I want to break. I'd
Yeah,
rather break.
that's dedication.
So yeah, that's one of my experiences.
Nice, man. Take us a look inside like one of your practices. What does your typical practice look like for you?
Typical practice. Okay, so I would go into practice and basically I would start off by stretching. I would stretch for like about 20 minutes, let's say. And then I start just jumping around. If I had a rope with me, I would just jump the rope. I like to do some skills with the rope. I think it's fun. And then it's a good way to warm up. And then I would do even top rocks on the rope. And then I would start just warming up with top rocks by itself. Like I would start top rocking for like half an hour to 40 minutes until I start like feeling a little bit of sweat. And then I started working, like I start working on footwork. Uh, I would just keep dancing because like usually the first hour when we practice, we just listen to hip hop, house, different types of music
Hmm.
just to like get ready to practice. And then as soon as we were warmed up, like for top rocks, footwork, everything, and we started playing like break beats and faster hip hop mixes and stuff, so we can start practicing. I would just work out on like new stuff, whatever my body feels like doing. Mostly power because like when I'm practicing with my crew or like around people, I get a lot of energy, and I use that energy to do power moves. Uh, and like I seem to like to enjoy it over the years, so I kept going at it. I would practice power moves all the time, and then I made it really far with power.
Hmm.
Uh, I took it to the next level, and like it feels good to be able to do that. Uh, so yeah,
It looks good too, man.
thank you,
It
thank you.
come a long way from doing handstands as a kid.
Yeah.
Nice. So let's
So
view
mostly power,
sorry, go ahead.
basically. So I'm saying like
Right, and
my practice was mostly power moves, and then I would just try to create different ways to get into my power, different power sets, and then different transitions, basics. I would try to change each basic. to and flip it to my own. Like I would do my like 3-4 different types of flares that I would create. Same thing for windmills, for air flares. Air flares was kind of hard to create my own, uh, but I'm getting there. I'm still getting there. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's just like I try to just flip everything and like bring my own perspective into each move.
Yeah, I love that. And like watching you break, it's just like you're doing things that I don't expect you to do and I've never seen before. Like you're turning in ways that I wouldn't expect you to turn, or directional switches, or you're landing with a different hand or foot than I thought you were going to. It's always catching me off guard, and I
Oh,
love it.
oh, really?
Yeah, and so I was really curious. I know you. It seems like you spend a lot of time creating different transitions and I guess different types of like original power combos and power moves. Like, can you take us into that process?
Yes. So for me, power moves is basically a game. Um, you need control. You need to be able to do like if you want to play around with power, you have to be able to do a lot of power. It's like for me, I get tired doing footwork sometimes. My stamina goes down, and like I wouldn't be able to hit like a whole footwork set just any time of the day. But if I just woke up right now and you ask me to do like 20 flares, I'm able to do that because I'm really comfortable with power. For me, power is all about breathing. That's one. Two, uh, it's all about control and technique. So if you're able to do 20 flares or like 20 air flares, 20 windmills, 20 of each move, then you're comfortable enough to play with it. You know,
Yeah.
so that's one of my approaches to power moves. So I would actually go to the beach and do like 20 flares, 20 air flares, handstand balance workouts on the sand because it has a better impact on the joints. That's one. And two, it's harder to control on the sand, so that actually makes your hands stronger and your grip stronger, so you get better control on that.
Right.
Another thing, I would do like the LNS workout, but for power. Like instead of doing 6 steps and going from point A to point B, I would actually do it with flares and then with air flares. Uh, so that this way, I have really good control when I'm doing flares and air flares in a cipher or in a battle. Like I know where I'm at. I know how to move if I'm about to hit someone while I'm doing power. So that's another approach. And then one more thing I like to work on is I used to write down moves. Like I would write down windmill, and then I would do windmill flare, and then windmill halos, then windmill 90s, windmill 2000, windmill headspin, windmill shoulder halos, and I would get all the transitions from windmill, and then I would change the move. I would do flare, and then I would do flare to halos, flare to headspin, flare to 19s, flare to 2000s, flare to munchmills, flare to everything. Same
Hmm.
thing with 19s. Uh, so basically, these are the three moves I focused on the most: flare, air flare, and 19s. And I learned to do these moves from anywhere, and two, I would go to anywhere from it too. So that gave me a lot of control and power too. Another thing is I would try to change each power move by itself. Like flares, I would try to do something different with it. And then I would try to do something even more. I would do like 3, 4 different types of flares. And then I would try to mix them up together too. Do them in the same round or mix two moves in one to make it look completely different. Uh, Find new transitions and new ways to do, like, let's say I want to do flare to air flare. Why can't I do it in a different way than everybody else?
Hmm.
Transitions, like transition in a different way to get to it. Like there's many perspectives to make your own power. It's either you change the move itself, or you change the transition, or both. And then you would make a throwdown to power, and then a way to get out of your power. So it's everything together.
Wow, okay, that is a lot to digest. So crazy. Okay, so it seems like you focus a lot on um on building that foundation. You know the move inside and out. You have full control of the move. You mentioned a couple strategies of doing that, and then you'll start to create the variations of the move, your own original variations from there.
Yes. So variations, my own transitions, my own go downs, and my own get out of each move. So that's basically what makes me feel like I'm different.
I love it, man. This is dope. And and I know you're extremely dynamic, like, and high energy. Is this just it seems like this is just the way you are.
Yes, yeah. Like I move a lot at home. Even like my parents would complain about it. Like when my mom is cooking in the kitchen and I would be walking around the kitchen, she'd be like, "Hey, you're making me dizzy. Just get out of the kitchen." and then, and then when my dad is watching TV at home, sitting on his couch, if I walk around a lot, he's like every time I walk in front of him, he would make like a noise that he shows me with that he's annoyed. It's like I'm like, oh man. Yeah. So I used to move a lot, basically.
Love it. And I that's hilarious. Yeah, I've got to ask is you also mentioned you focus on health and conditioning. I'm sure that these help keep your energy up as well. Would you want to just go over some of the things you do as part of your breaking training, but not specifically within like your practices?
Yes. Yes. So basically, I used to stretch every day for like around 5, 6 years of my breaking career. I used to stretch every day twice, morning and night. I would do 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the night. Um, just because like I didn't know I was doing yoga basically, but I guess after I grew up and learned what yoga is and what meditation is and like getting deep through your spirit, like getting on a spiritual level and all that. I didn't really know much about that, but I figured out that that's exactly what I was doing as I was growing up. So I used to stretch every day. I used to meditate and do guided meditations on YouTube every night before I sleep. Uh, and then that's something I used to do all the time to keep my body ready and conditioned. I would also stretch using handstands. Like I would do a handstand and like just stretch my legs and stuff, which also gave me control and power too. And then I just focus on being healthy in terms of food and sleep, because like even if you're healthy with the way you eat, a lot of people don't even know that the way you sleep and when do you sleep and all that makes a difference in your life, and the way you get up out of bed also makes a big difference in your daily life. Okay, so let's say for example you wake up at 9 a.m. and then you open your eyes and you're like laying down on your bed and you stay in your bed for like half an hour or an hour. I know for a fact if I do that my day is going to be lazy. But then if I wake up and I get up right away after I open my eyes, I know for a fact that I'm going to have energy and do a lot of little tasks that will lead to bigger tasks throughout the day. Uh, like for example, if you wake up every day and you make your bed, it makes a big difference in your life than if you don't. Because if you make your bed, then you actually made the first move of the day. So that will give you a really good feeling, like a small, like it's really small, but it gives you a good feeling from the inside. It's like, oh, I did this, and then it will motivate you to do something else for yourself, and then slowly you keep doing little tasks, and then throughout the day you would have been like really productive, rather than being lazy. And then in terms of food, and nutrition. I try to stay hydrated, drink a lot of water before I sleep, before I practice, when I first wake up. I think water is a like really big part. Like most of your body is filled with water, so you have to take care of your body in that aspect too. So that's one. And then another thing is what you eat makes a big difference. Like cutting down oils, sugars, and stuff that you don't really need in your body makes a big difference in your breaking as well.
Perfect. And I completely agree with you. Is what you do in the morning really sets up the tone for the rest of your day. And
Yes.
if you focus like an hour getting a good morning routine, um, getting the things that you want to get done in the morning, being productive in the morning, you'll have a much more productive day, much more active day. Love it, man.
Yes, you basically said it in short. Like I wish I can say it in short to me. It's sometimes hard for me, but yeah.
Don't worry, man. That makes you perfect for the show. And we're getting close to wrapping up here somewhere. I know you mentioned you had a bunch of like really actionable tips. Was there anything specific you want to get out there before we wrap up?
Uh, yes. I just want to say that I want to like mention a couple of stuff in terms of nutrition and food that will help people with their daily life. Like it will even make them live longer. You know, like some of the stuff that I do is I drink aloe vera every day. That's one. And then other than that, celery, celery. I drink celery juices every day. I would use bee pollen, which has all the B vitamins. That's the only thing in the world that has all the B vitamins. So it's very beneficial. I use it every day as well. Um Another thing is hemp seeds. It's the best source of protein that you can get, and I would recommend that for everybody. And then usually, like I do eat meats, but a plant-based diet is the best option for your heart, for your inner health, not for nutrition, for your health. Health and nutrition is two different things, and it's really important to know the difference between these two because you could be harming your health but focusing on your nutrition, and a lot of bodybuilders do that. And dancing helps keeps you young, but there's other ways too to keep you young, and which is taking care of your health, and that goes really well along with breaking. So that's something I recommend to everybody to do. Focus on a plant-based diet. Even if you eat meats, it doesn't matter. Just you know, just try to cut down a few stuff, sugars and stuff, and just focus on your health, not just nutrition. Another thing is, in my opinion, if you want to do something that you've never done before, you have to get out of your way and do something for it. Like you have to work hard for it and do something that nobody else did that would make you special or outstand them. Like if all the b-boys in my city practices 5 hours a day, I'm gonna go and practice 7 hours a day, and that would set the difference between me and them. And yeah, that's it.
I hope you're listening, guys. Be different. Do the things that other b-boys won't do. That's the only way you'll be able to stand out from the crowd and go above and beyond, set new levels.
Yes, and don't be afraid to go commercial. Because
Straight
the
up.
b-boy
Love it,
scene
man.
kind of prevents that. It's like, oh, you gotta stay real. You gotta stick to the roots. Breaking started in the streets. Like, no, man. Like, okay, it did. It's cool. I like it for sure. But it's good to make money through your craft too. It's it's really important because this way you like if you want to be a good representative of breaking, then when you go commercial, present it in a good way and teach the actual teachings of breaking, of the benefits of it and everything and the history of it, and then you're good. You don't need to be real and stay in the streets, and stay in that mentality because you will not go anywhere with that, basically.
Cool. Well said, bro. Right? It's shifting for sure. And if you want to be able to do this for a living, you have to stay open-minded. And
Yes,
that's a
exactly.
that's a dream for many b-boys. If you could break for a living, the dream come true.
Yes.
Cool. And this is awesome, man. Thanks so much for opening up and sharing with us like your stories and your struggles like over these past what 7, 8 years.
Hmm.
It really shows
Yeah.
us how to push through in the face of adversity, and you've come so far, and so I'm so excited to see where you're gonna go next.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, for sure. I would love to definitely need to get you back in the show. I really want to pick your brain on your battle mentality. You've been a part of like so many big jams, like notably of the all the Red Bull jams previously and recently. I'd love to pick your brain on some battle strategy.
For sure.
Okay, cool, man. And we'll just finish up by I guess where people can find you online. I know you're on Instagram.
Yes. For the most part, I'm mostly on Instagram. Yes.
Okay,
And
perfect.
my yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, yeah, no, hit us with your Instagram handle.
Yeah. So my Instagram is Somar Jafari. It's SOMAR JAFARI.
Beauty, guys. Yeah, hit Somar up on Instagram, Somar Jafari. And is it cool if they hit you up maybe if they're in the Orange County area, if they want to practice with you, or if people want to find some lessons or classes that you
Of
teach, is that a
course.
good place?
Of course, yes. Like I actually have a lot of space at home, even like in my living room or like let's say the kitchen area. I have a lot of space, and it's wood parquet flooring, so it's perfect for breaking. And then it's a big space with big mirrors on the wall too. So it's like a studio. It's like I have a small studio at home. Uh, I do give private, and yeah, like whoever needs classes or help tips with power moves, with breaking in general, acrobatics, all these stuff, I would definitely help them out.
That's awesome, man. Really wishing I was out in Orange County right now, as I would totally take you up on that offer.
Thank you.
Guys, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Like clearly, Somar has so much to share and is really knowledgeable. It seems especially on your training regimen and also your health regimen too. And I love that, man. Really love that.
Thank you.
All right, guys, you've been hanging out with Somar and your host Wolvi. Head over to inthecipher.com, search Somar in the search bar, and his show notes page will come up with everything we've been talking about, from his training regimen to the things he's eating on a daily basis. So I just want to say thank you so much, Somar, for sharing your story and a lot of really actionable tips on the dance. These it's things like this that will go a really long way to help so many b-boys and b-girls around the world. And I really appreciate it, man. Hope to have you back on the show, but
Thank
until
you.
then, we'll catch you in the cipher, man.
For sure. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And sharing is caring. So I love to share and inspire others because I had a lot of inspirations in my life. So it's really cool to have other people be inspired by my story, you know?
Perfect, man. Well, I am inspired myself. I'll tell you that.
Thank you.
Okay, perfect, man. We'll get on the show again soon.
All right. Thank you so
And
much.
there you have it, guys. B-Boy Somar. Somar, thank you so much for being on this episode of the show. And thank you so much for sharing your techniques for developing power transitions and your own original moves. Anyways, guys, please check out Somar on Instagram. And while you're there, please follow us on Instagram too. It's where I announce all of the upcoming shows, some behind the scenes, and then some promotional images. It's pretty dope stuff. On my stories, I featured the B-boys that we interviewed. So if you want to keep up with what anyone I interview is up to, then give us a follow on there. If you have any questions for me or any other ways I can improve the show, you can let me know. DM me on Instagram, comment on whatever YouTube, Instagram. And like I said, I read and look at everything. So appreciate the support, guys. It's been awesome these past couple weeks. So I really appreciate the support, guys. It's been crazy these past couple weeks. The amount of support and that I've been getting is awesome, and it keeps me motivated to keep going on and making these shows. So as I've said before, it is my goal with each episode to help you guys. So any way I can help you guys better, please let me know. YouTube comments, Instagram DMs. You can email me. My email's on our website. Anything, guys. Really appreciate it. Love the support. So until then, guys, I will catch you on the next episode. Peace out. Take care. Bye bye.